Paige Loves.
I'm Alex Simpson.
And I'm Josh Elliott.
And we're going to review I, Tonya.
Tonya Harding's life story. So it starts from when she was a child and moving on up until the Olympics.
Because if you're unfamiliar with who Tonya Harding is, like, she was an Olympic figure skater. Her kind of rival skater was attacked by Tonya's ex-husband, and she claimed she did not know anything about it.
But everyone was like, nah, she definitely
Yeah.
attacked her so she could have a spot on the Olympic team.
Yeah.
So they made a movie about it.
It's pretty rare when you get movies told from the perspective of the person everyone hates. You could
Right.
easily make a movie about Nancy Kerrigan, and it would be like your typical heroic perseverance story, but they chose to make one about Tonya.
And I thought it was a great choice.
I thought they were going to take a more serious tone with it, and they definitely did not.
I went and saw it with my mom, and I was like, oh yeah, so it's a comedy, so you're gonna like it, because my mom doesn't really like to cry. But she was like, how do you make an abusive mother and an abusive husband and like just such an awful situation into a comedy? I don't know. Fourth wall breaks.
Those were the best.
It starts in the beginning with interviews of the characters years after the attack. They all conflict each other because they're trying to make themselves look better. But so it starts with that. It just jumps back in time and then goes to the fourth wall breaks, and it's just, I think it's such an interesting way of telling the story.
This was nominated for Best Film Editing at the
Yeah.
Oscars. They occasionally have the interviews working as voiceover, playing over the clips, and then the characters in the clips turn directly to the camera and say
So
what's
good.
happening.
My favorite fourth wall break is when she's like discussing whether or not like abuse is a sign of love. It cuts from like her like fighting with her husband, and then it goes to them having sex in the room, and she's just like backwards on the bed, and she's like, I mean, my mom hits me and she loves me. And I'm like, I absolutely loved it. I mean, to be fair, also I'm in love with Sebastian Stan, and anything he does, I'm just like, yes. And also Margot Robbie too. I'm in love
I
with
love
her.
Margot Robbie.
I could tell she was gonna be good just based on the trailers, and she's a good actress, but she goes crazy in this movie. Like, she goes all out.
Also, best foreigner with an American accent I've ever heard. I went into this movie already knowing a lot about Tonya Harding. My favorite documentary probably ever is the 30 for 30 Tonya Harding documentary on Netflix.
Mm.
If it's still on Netflix, I don't know. It was fun to see how they portrayed that like in actual life, because like in the documentary it was like Tonya Harding interviews like now and then just clips from the Olympics. So it wasn't very cinematic, and I just liked the cinematic aspect of the movie and how they portrayed basically the same storyline.
I thought it was very interesting, and I liked the like conflicting views of the people in the present talking about the past and how they all had wildly conflicting stories. I thought that made for an interesting kind of unreliable narrator.
What I'm wondering is, did they just like take stuff from everybody's stories and turn it into a movie? Or did they favor certain people's stories over others?
I don't know. I think they would have like if I was making a movie and I was looking at all these interviews, I would have chosen the most wildly fanciful kind of things.
Yeah.
What I would have liked to have seen was the person who plays Nancy Kerrigan. They didn't interview her at all.
But also,
Interviewer.
it's Tonya's story. I said I saw it with my mom, and she was alive, obviously, when this was all happening. And she was like, I never knew much about the story. I just remembered everyone was supposed to hate Tonya and love Nancy.
And I think that's one of the most interesting things about telling a story like this. Telling it from her perspective, you really get to see that she definitely did not deserve the hate from the country that she got.
And especially if you believe her story that she did not know about it.
And so it's sad, but it's also really funny. What's the name of the fat guy?
I
He's
can't
the
believe he would
funniest
lie
thing.
about having like foreign espionage contacts,
gosh.
and I worked with the FBI on counterterrorism, and they're like, no, you didn't.
But I did. No, you don't. But I do.
Oh, his name is Sean.
I watched Battle of the Sexes a while back, and I think I told Josh this after I watched it, but as long as sports movies go, I like this one better than Battle of the Sexes.
I agree. I tend to not like sports movies, but maybe that I'm a bit biased because I don't like sports.
Something that Abby hated about this movie was the visual effects, but I thought they were fine. Margot Robbie did a good portion of her skating,
But
but
not
the
the
tricks
full
weren't real.
Yeah,
I watched an interview that said that they did have skaters.
They must have done that with some, but I know that for the triple axel was all visual effects. There are only 2 people in the world that can do an actual triple axel, and they were training for the Olympics, so they didn't want to risk it for the movie.
That's fair. But I thought they were fine. I didn't get distracted by them at all. I would have said it was body doubles for all of them.
We've been talking for like 15 minutes and we have not talked about Allison Janney yet.
Oh, she's good.
She's so much fun.
She's definitely the best part of this movie. Some people might not like the kind of comedy that's based off of, like, I don't know, abuse. I thought it was funny. Especially the diner scene when Tanya's like, I'm gonna go for the Olympics again. I'm gonna go back and not be stuck in this waitress life like you are. And she's just like, I'm not gonna help you.
It is sweet when she, like, when Tonya is on the TV, she's watching her. She's like, I want to see her face when she does it. Like, she still loves her.
If she was abusive just for the point of getting her to be a figure skater star, and then your daughter's on the Olympics, whether you care for that daughter or not, she is the star you wanted her to be.
We're gonna go into spoilers for a couple seconds, but we're not gonna spoil anything that wasn't covered 20 years ago with the actual scandal.
Yeah,
so.
It's based on a true story.
Alex, cry meter.
It was like 0.5. There was a scene where I did almost cry. It was like the court scene where they like took away figure skating.
I almost cried there too.
The judge is like taking away all of these things. Like you have to do like 10 years of community service and then you can never professionally ice skate again. And she's like hysterical. Like the guys that actually carried this out, they only got like 9 years in prison. And most of them didn't even serve the full 9 years.
Please, I'll just do the jail time. Like, please, you don't understand. This is a death sentence if I can't skate. And I'm like, my baby.
We should probably go
to
final
wrap it up.
verdicts.
Final verdicts.
This movie is surprisingly funny. I think the actors are fantastic. The editing is phenomenal. But most importantly, I think this is such a unique story because it's told about a person that everyone hates. It finally allows for their side of the story to be told, and I think that's really admirable, and I thought they did a really fun, interesting, and memorable way of telling that story, so I'm gonna give it a 9.
I really like this movie because they stayed pretty much true to the story of her actual life. There was not a lot that I hated about this movie, so I'm gonna give it a 9.5.
I really enjoyed this movie. I definitely want to buy it when it's on DVD. It also said 2 of my favorite cuss words. The C word is definitely my favorite cuss word. The thing I didn't mention was I loved the fight scenes. It was well choreographed, whereas like, yeah, you're like, oh my god, this abusive husband is awful, and oh my god, this abusive mom is awful. I thought it was tasteful. I wasn't like, maybe I'm just a bad person. I just kept thinking, because you got thrown into cabinets and stuff and shot walls. I'm like, how many takes did they do this? Because they're just destroying this place. I thought it was really funny and well done, and I really enjoyed it, and I hope it wins a lot of awards. And I'll give it a 9.
Okay, so the final verdict is a 9.2.
Nice.
9.2 stabs in the sternum out of 10.
This movie was robbed of Best Picture. It wasn't nominated, and I'm mad. And Best Original Screenplay, or Adapted Screenplay, depending on how you determine it. What did you think of I, Tonya, if you saw it? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Comment below to let us know. If you comment, I will beat you in the knee.
And ruin your skating career.
Peace out, guys.
Thanks for watching. Click here to subscribe and here to watch our last video.